Hello, everyone that is already in. Welcome to Data Plus Women. This is the chapter from the Netherlands. Today we have two speakers, one also talking from the Netherlands, other from the UK, both of them German, coincidentally. And before we start and talk with our uh, guest of the day. Just for those of you that are new, I don't know who is new, please feel free to use the chat and let us know if that's your first Data Plus Women or if you're a seasoned attendee. We're Data Plus Women Netherlands. We're part of Data Plus Women, that is a global initiative. And what we do is we create space to give visibility to the work of women. So we do it through events. Uh, Sometimes virtual, sometimes live events. It depends a bit of our agenda and host possibilities. Today we're having this virtual lunch and learn. And everyone always, it doesn't matter if it's virtual or in person, is always welcome. As I said, our idea is that our speakers are always women, but we want everyone as attendees. We want all the community because we think that we need everyone to change things and to create visibility to the women and to the work that we do. You're seeing here the organizers of Data Plus Women Netherlands. We're all in this call. Feel free to connect with us, send message directly, connect on LinkedIn. If you are attending and would like one day to be a speaker, feel free to raise your hands and let us know. Or if your company would like to host an event and collaborate with us, also feel free to let us know. It will be always a pleasure to do it together. A bit of housekeeping. So first of all, big thanks for all for coming. You will see in the bottom that you have two options, one for chat and one for Q&A. We will do a fire chat later. So if you want to send a question, please do it on the Q&A because then it's easier for us to see. And we're planning to save all the questions for the fire chat. So don't feel like we're not answering. It's just because we will do it all at once after we have Eva and Aline doing her first speech. So please use it. And also feel free to use the chat. You can talk to each other during the presentations. You can send your comments, everything. We really would like you to use everything that we have virtually also to collaborate. And it's working. This is, I can see that your test is testing. So just a quick recap of the agenda. We are welcoming all of you here, and we'll follow up with Eva and then Aline, and then we'll have a fire chat in the end of the day. And we will start. Let me just do a quick intro of our two speakers. For those of you that are familiar with Tableau community, I'm sure that you are already introduced to Eva because she was for 4 times Tableau Zen Master that changed names. Nowadays it's Tableau Visionary. And she helped also to organize the Makeover Monday. And she kind of changed careers, not exactly totally changed, right? Because she's still very present in the data and everything, but she started to work as a career coach recently. So this is Eva for those of you that are new to her. And for those of you that haven't followed her update that she changed to career coach. And Aline, Aline is coming from SAP for those very heavy Tableau people. We also welcome SAP people here with us. She worked and still working doing projects of implementation and everything. But what Aline noticed during her career was that the teams, the more diverse they were, the better they would work. So at some point, she decided to also work in this part of the business that is bringing diversity to companies. And she is nowadays part of Ellevate, that she will talk a little bit about it, that is focused is exactly on this in bringing diversity to companies, to make companies more diverse. So those are our two speakers, and I'll now stop sharing. And just one thing before I pass to Eva. Timmy, I was almost forgetting that you have an exciting request for everyone following, because in the end of the day, we will have prizes. So Timmy, please.
Yeah, so at the end of our session, I will spin the wheel, and we will ship out Christmas swag for 2 participants. So, but you have to qualify for it, being in the EU. So, what we are asking you is, please send your name in the chat. Who, if you reside in the EU, please, and I will put your name into the wheel of fortune. And at the end of the session, we will spin the wheel. So please go ahead, and looking forward to receive your name so I can add it to the wheel. Thank you.
So thanks, Timmy. And Eva, please welcome to our lunch and learn about career progression.
Thank you very much. I hope everyone's got some snacks. My name is Eva, as Rachel already introduced me. It's great to be here, and I've got just some very light slides for you to follow along. And really looking forward to the fireside chat as well, see what happens there. When I first talked to Rachel about this presentation, and if I look up, that's my thinking face, just so you know. When I first talked to Rachel about the presentation, she sent me a few different questions to keep in mind, and I picked 3 that I want to discuss over the next 15 or so minutes. And the first one is, given the uncertain times we're in, right? There's layoffs, there's wars, there's all sorts going on, and I think it's very different from pre-COVID. Including in our data industry. So how do we keep ourselves relevant when the tech landscape changes so quickly? Let me take you through my thinking on this, because I'm a firm believer that soft skills are never going to go out of fashion. They're always going to be relevant. And I think for a lot of you, that's stuff you already know and you already do. So it's really about more of it and more of it. So things like communication, relationship building, mentoring, community building, and all the bits in between. And of course, there's going to be technology trends that are worth paying attention to. But because there are so many different technologies out there, and I can't recommend a single one, that would be silly and also irresponsible. Because if I had the foresight or the knowledge of what's going to be relevant, a few years down the track, I would probably not be sitting here. I would bottle that knowledge and sell it somewhere. Instead, what I want to suggest is an image to help you think about this question. How can I stay relevant when everything around me changes all the time and changes so quickly? I want you to imagine the trunk of a tree, right? We all know what a trunk of a tree is. And when you cut it open, you see all the rings, depending on the age of the tree. And this is like your network. The inner circle is you, your family, and the more you grow in life and in your career, the more rings you add, and the more layers you add to your professional network as well. And it's not just people, it's also companies, and it's locations, places you live, places you travel. And when you think about the technologies you use and your skill set and the many different tools that are out there, programming languages, methodologies, different techniques, I really recommend using this tree ring analogy. So today, your tree has a set number of rings, right? That is going to be where you are today, and depending on your age and your skills and your experiences, etc. So let's say, for argument's sake, let's use Tableau as an example, because a lot of us are familiar with that. Let's say you know Tableau already. You use it frequently, have a certain level of expertise. What are the most useful skills that would complement what you do with Tableau already and help you use it faster, more easily, more independently? Things that come to mind for me are data prep, knowledge of database software, data modeling, data architecture, for example, but also design skills, right? Tableau plus design, really good combination, but also presentation skills, being able to really communicate well what you found in your analysis and what the stakeholders need to know so that they can take action based on that. But also another big one is business knowledge. You can never know too much about the organization you work for. No one's ever going to say, oh my God, you know too much about our finance department, or you know too much about production. So Gaining knowledge in that direction is super useful because, again, you can combine it with what you already have. So you can also then think about jobs and career pathways that way, because you are taking where you are right now in the, in your tree trunk with all those rings, and you can expand from there. And I've just given you different areas in terms of technical skills. I also want you to think about the organizations that you've interacted with. Maybe the obvious one is Tableau. But if you look around your organization and what other tools or technologies they use, there might be Snowflake, there might be Databricks, Alteryx, Dataiku, dbt, AWS, Microsoft, all sorts of different ones. And maybe you're not sure, but you could probably find out quite easily and quite quickly. And you could dig around and see, what are those vendors doing in your organization? What services are they providing? What products are they providing? And in addition to just the vendors, who else is involved? There's probably consulting firms. They tend to stick around because they can help with implementation, with growth. They tend to find ways to stick around and get more money out of the organization as well. I have worked in consulting. I know how it works. So suddenly you have quite a nice short list of maybe half a dozen or so organizations that are in partnership or as a provider for the company or the organization you actually work for. And that is an ecosystem where you, as the customer, or whatever your role is, you can start making connections. And this is something I talk to pretty much all of my coaching clients about as well. Rather than thinking, what are the companies out there that I can apply for a job for, or that maybe I want to target in a few years' time, because I'm actually quite happy where I am, but maybe in the future there's a space for me. And rather than thinking blue sky, right, but all the opportunities and the possibilities, maybe starting where we are and looking at what's the most immediate connection, because it is a bit easier to get a foot in the door, because you can talk to colleagues, you can talk to consultants that you see sitting in a cubby hole somewhere down the hallway. You might have some connections to the vendor. You can ask the services provider, etc. So using the proximity that you have to them to start exploring different options for building skills, exploring career paths, etc. And then in terms of other ways you can expand your skill set and just look at what are companies doing that are maybe similar to yours. What I recommend, let's assume again, you use Tableau or insert equivalent tool. You could go to Tableau's website, look at other customers. You could find customers in the same industry as your organization. You could find other sectors as well, but you could see, what other companies are using Tableau? And the companies that are listed on their website are usually the ones that really embrace the tool and that are more likely to talk about it because, well, they've published a case study, or maybe they've spoken at a Tableau conference. So tapping into that knowledge or that information is really useful because, again, rather than guessing if a company uses a certain tool or scanning all the job descriptions, you could see, okay, maybe there's 5 on Tableau's website that look really interesting, and you could target those first. So this is how I encourage you to think about your skill set, not just, oh my God, what can I learn? Like I feel like I'm falling behind, or is just Tableau enough, or do I need to do something else? What is the most logical thing to add that immediately benefits where you are right now and that you can actually use in your current role as well? And, whether you're moving or not, this is not just about people finding a new job. This is also, maybe getting a promotion, moving internally, or simply adding skills that you feel are useful for you and are really enjoyable to add. Okay. Going to take a quick breath. Do we have? Well, I know we're going to keep questions to the end, so I will continue on. The next question I want to think about, and it's similar to the first one, and it's more around how do you know whether what we're doing now, right now, today, 26th of November, 2025, whether what you're doing is still going to be relevant in 5 years. And again, it's one of those questions where it's impossible to know what's going to be relevant at the technical level. I mean, some stuff will be persistent, right? We're going to hear from Aline, and she was at SAP, and SAP have been around for so long. If you have SAP skills, I'm sure you're going to find a job for a long time still. And even with Tableau, which is now over 20 years old, Tableau is embedded in so many organizations. If you're good, and you can find the right place, you can still find a job in Tableau for a long time, right? But we don't want to bank on one thing. We would rather spread the options and kind of spread the risk. So if you think back to 3 years ago, almost to the date, 30th of November 2022, ChatGPT suddenly appeared on everyone's radar. OpenAI that built ChatGPT was actually founded in 2015. So this was not like an overnight success, because I remember myself thinking, where the heck did this just come from? How did I not know? But it bubbled and then it suddenly popped up, and now there was this race, and I guess somebody had to go first, and they were the ones to go, first with their tool. And think about how just in the last 3 years, LLMs have transformed how so many of us work, sometimes for the worse, but so much can happen in 5 years. So these predictions are really tough. I think it's very different from, for example, more established fields and maybe super regulated fields. When I think about medicine, law, it's maybe a little bit more straightforward what's coming or what direction you can go into. So I want to run through, and actually let me bring up that slide. Here we go. I've made you a list of what I think are some timeless, some classic skills that will stick around, and I'm super, super passionate about this. The first one is communication. It's absolutely crucial. And I think you can probably think of a bunch of situations where, whether it's a friend, a family member, a loved one, a colleague, where things got a bit tricky. I imagine most of the time it was some sort of miscommunication, misunderstanding, non-communication. Often communication is in some way involved, or poor communication when there's a problem. So being a good communicator is really helpful. Also, someone who's genuinely nice to work with. I think we often underestimate this, but if you're a team player, somebody who helps and who sees what's needed and is proactive, that's a great thing. And I want to make a quick disclaimer. As women, let's not do the underappreciated, non-promotable work all the time, right? I'm not suggesting do all the things for all the people. Within what's, kind of your job and outside of it, you've got to kind of pick and choose. But I think being somebody who gets involved and is proactive is a good thing. Then building relationships. This will serve you forever until the day you keel over. Connecting with people, nurturing those relationships, and occasional messages, calls, showing up in people's news feed, whatever platform you use, but also being curious and really wanting to learn something. So when you show an interest beyond your own job, and I said earlier about learning about the business, that is really helpful for building those relationships, and it's going to make your own work more interesting, because suddenly you're like, oh, it makes so much more sense now that I have all this context. So asking questions and seeing what comes back from the others. And then being proactive and anticipating people's needs. I'm a big believer in that. And this could be, your manager needing help with a presentation, or they want to have you represent them in a meeting because they can't make it. Being proactive about these things is going to serve you every time, because if you listen carefully and you tune into what opportunity is in that, it can lead to many more things further down the line, and it can serve you as, you can become recognized as somebody who's reliable, who's proactive, that cares about their work, etc. Becoming visible, and I don't want you to cringe just yet. Visibility is important, and it's not just about selfies. It's not even just about presenting on stage. I mean, I love getting on stage. I love being up there, but not everybody does, and that's totally fine. It's really you becoming more visible, but also your work. And if you feel like you don't want to be in the spotlight, push your work into the spotlight. I want to cut this a bit shorter because I still have one more question to tackle. But final bit on this is listening, and I've put properly in brackets. It's truly listening, and it's not what I'm thinking we've been taught a lot in the past. It's like nodding along and telling the person you're listening, but really listening and finding out and following up and asking more questions and really figuring out, because do it. So when somebody listens to you properly and asks you interesting questions, I'm sure you've had these situations where oh my God, they really wanted to know. They were really interested. And if you can give somebody else that feeling, that's a great thing. And final bit, here we go, is a little bit of self-assessment, as Rachel put it to me. So how can you figure out where you are today and how can you balance finding something that fulfills you personally, but also gives you enough money to live on, and more than just live on, maybe thrive even. How can you figure out your strength and be confident and all of that good stuff? So it's a really big question. It all starts with, where are you right now and where do you want to go? I had a lot of ideas in my time, in my career, and none of them came true. But in hindsight, everything I've done, I loved it when I did it. And I'm really glad it happened, even the not so great things, because they led to other good things. So the key ingredients that really helped me is being confident in my abilities and not saying, oh, I don't know if I can do that. If I know I can do it, I'm going to say I know I can do it, or simply I can do it. So knowing my strengths and really clearly communicating those and leaning into them more rather than tackling my weaknesses all the time. It's like, if I lean into my strengths, maybe the weaknesses will take care of themselves. And I pride myself on always saying yes to opportunities, even if they're scaring me, because they've always worked out somehow. And then lastly is taking pride in my work and aiming to do the job to the best of my abilities. So that's served me well. And I would say, yes, I worked hard. And I think if I hadn't enjoyed my work, I would have burned out a few times along the way, but I scraped by it and I did okay. And also, maybe another disclaimer, I had great managers along the way. And I know that's not always the case for people. It just always worked out nicely. And I think it was, a kind of a give and take, but they gave me the input I needed to thrive in my career. So what I want to leave you with on this part is, and you're going to get a QR code shortly on the screen, I actually think that this reflection bit on where are you today, where do you want to go, and how can you figure out what are your strengths, what are your skills? I mean, you can do all these questionnaires, and I do recommend those, but also how can you get into a habit of reflecting more regularly? I do like 3 minutes at the end of the day, literally 3 minutes, to write down what went well, maybe what didn't go so well, or at least think about it, what I want to focus on tomorrow. But rather than me rattling through a list of questions now, I'd love to pop this on, because I actually just launched this today. So it's a free exercise that you get over 5 days. So you don't have everything on one day. You can get it by email. And the idea here is to get into the habit of reflecting on certain questions or just having a think about them, finding some answers, which then help you further down the line. But yeah, this is a big one. And I know that the finance topic, I think we might tackle in the fireside chat. So I'm going to leave that for now. I have a lot of opinions about money, so I would love to talk about it. But I'm going to park it for now. And I invite you to grab this. Like, it's completely free. And if you like, Eva, this is too many things, just unsubscribe. But I've put together a set of questions in over 5 days that will hopefully help you get a bit more clarity, get a bit more confidence, and chart out maybe your path for next year and beyond. And that brings me to the end of my bit. Thank you.
Thank you, Eva. And if you would like also to share the link and the message, feel free, because then people can already go explore. For everyone, we will also add the link to our post-event email, so it will make it easier for those of you that are with your hands in your sandwich and cannot take a screenshot or click on the link right now. Eva, thank you so much. I think there are a lot of I have a lot of questions that I will park for the fire chat.
Great.
Because I think that you touched on so many points, the parts of the strengths. I love that you said that you do reflect in 3 minutes every day. That's also quite interesting. But let's now hear Aline, and then we'll do the fire chat in the end. So Aline, if you could come and please unmute yourself, and the show is
Yes, I will. No, I'm super excited. Thank you also so much, Rachel, for inviting me for this session today. We got connected, I think, last year or so, also obviously through Ellevate. And when you approached me, I really felt like excited about it, because I'm a woman in tech, but more than that, I'm a woman with over 20 years of industry experience in the field of data and analytics. And well, you outed me. Indeed, I'm coming from the SAP background. So I indeed started over 20 years ago as an SAP BI consultant and stayed in that field because I found it extremely exciting. With SAP, a lot changed over the years. I've seen a lot. And I think, that's also what triggers me. I need to stay excited, need to learn a lot and stay curious. So I indeed stayed in this field. And also Rachel already teased it. I had, a pivotal moment in my life, which was around 8 years ago, well, 7 years ago, when our oldest daughter was born. And becoming a mom was for me, a huge life changer, obviously, but also a changer regarding my career. And Rachel, you explained it very well. So, being a woman in tech, also first actually having my career in Germany, I already during my studies was a lot of times the only woman in the room. Later on, also in the tech teams I worked in, I was one of the women, very much with or same type of men, which I never actually questioned. I always loved the way the team had its dynamics, how the work was done. But then, something happened to me because I moved. I moved 10 years ago. I moved to the Netherlands, and I joined a global sports company for a global SAP implementation. And what I experienced there was for me really the game changer, because for the first time in my career, I joined a very diverse team, not just in gender, but also nationality, seniority. And honestly, from day one, I was really like, okay, how can this be? I never experienced that before. I just love working in this team, but more than that, I firsthand experienced, the power of diversity. And there's a lot of research on it, obviously, but if you experience it yourself on how diverse teams perform, it was my game changer. And then 5 years ago, after becoming a mom and really thinking about also my career going forward, me and my friend Dineke, who actually I used to work together with at the company, we decided to leave the corporate world and set up our own company, which is Ellevate. And we are a recruiting agency focusing on bringing more diversity into tech teams. We very much come from the gender perspective, to be honest, but diversity obviously is more than that. And it's for us also, for every client, diversity means something else. But that's what we're doing. And next to that, I'm very much into empowering women in tech. So we're also growing a community. We're bringing women together. That's why I also love an event like this, where, we bring women together, we learn, we help each other, we support each other. And this is just the first conversation, right? Maybe on those events, connections are built that grow even stronger and faster, which we also experience firsthand in our Ellevate community. So enough about me. I was actually thinking, since, my career changed from being a woman in tech and working in data and analytics, and then swapping the seats and becoming a recruiter, I'm taking you along, and I will, just give you some insights on, through the recruiter lens, which I thought, would be interesting for you. And I want to kick it off actually with just already telling you, and that's why I also love, Eva, your slides and your input, because it's very much where I also feel like this is what I want to say. We are really, lucky, because with our technical background, this is truly our career superpower. And Eva pointed it already out in some bits and pieces. But just to keep it short, and I also don't want to repeat too much of what Eva already said, but I think with our, analytical thinking, we're really creating clarity, structure. We're very detailed oriented. We have a data mindset. That's also what Eva said. You need to, gather all the data information, make it useful for your career and your next steps. But also, when you look at what you apply every day at your work, you're curious, you apply problem solving, iterations in your projects, right? Also that one you can take as your superpower in planning out your next career steps. And for me, also as, you know, a recruiter now, the most important thing that I feel is your story. And it doesn't matter, of course, with which tool you work, be it Tableau, but what are you doing with your data? You're telling a story, and you're really, really powerful with that. And this is what in your career will bring you forward, what people want to hear, and what will bring you to the position or the job that you want to get. Digging into it now and make it really more like, let's say, punctual. So from, of course, coming from the recruiter background, what's the data we're looking at? The CV, right? This is, I think, the first thing recruiters look at. And I named it Demystifying the CV because I see a lot of CVs, and I can tell you recruiters don't have a lot of time, right? Or they don't take a lot of time. So what is really relevant is that in your CV, you have a clear structure. It's easy, it's fast to read within, like, actually for me it's seconds. Well, to be honest, I almost never look at a CV anymore, but I get to that later. But the structure, you know, no typos. It just needs to be easy and fast for recruiters to do a decision making. Is it a yes or a no? What is really important for you is that you talk about your accomplishments and not about the task or the responsibilities you have. You need to really, in your CV, show how you made impact in each role. And I think this is like the most important for me to give to you, and also as like a quick maybe win or quick next step for you. Look at your current CV, and if it's just like one task you're changing with an accomplishment, then you already have like a quick win. Obviously, be aware of bias and language. Be as neutral as possible, because everybody's biased, right? Everybody, you cannot, you have your beliefs, you have your values, and you can try in your CV to use neutral language. Don't put picture in, don't put any too much personal information in to get that out. Obviously this applies also if you're junior or senior. Keep it to 1 or 2 pages. If you're very senior, and it depends on the role, what I like is to get like a separate project list, right? That explains a bit more, but keep it as short as possible for the recruiter to look at. And some common mistakes are, of course, a lot of buzzwords you use, a lot of repetition, not pointing out each accomplishment, but also I see it very quickly, obviously, if you have one CV and you apply for different roles. Like, really make sure you analyze the job position or the job posting and the position you're applying for, and take out some keywords that really makes it interesting and really makes it feel like, oh yeah, you really want to apply for this role. Let's go to the next. I'm like racing a bit through to keep my time. To be honest, AI obviously also for recruiting is a topic, and also for candidates if you apply for a new job. ATS screening is one thing companies, or a lot of companies, using already. You know, you automatically upload your CV, and then it is automatically scanned on certain information, and then your CV goes through or not. And with AI, of course, this becomes more and more relevant now, that you need to create your CV according to how AI wants it, right? I think one thing I want to also share with you, it's not AI, obviously, that's rejecting you, right? It is, it is your formatting. So if you want to not get blocked by the algorithm or not being kicked out, I can tell you, keep your format as simple as possible. Ideally, just a single column layout, because AI doesn't like graphs, tables, different columns. Keep it as simple as possible. And again, apply keywords. On the job postings, what skills, what keywords are relevant? Put this in your CV, and AI will love it. Next to that, and that goes for the automation, AI, but also personally, for myself as a recommendation, when I look at a CV, I love the skills section, where you at first glance see the skills, ideally also aligned with the job posting, and then rate them, right? Say, okay, how good are you in this certain skill? This is also really relevant for AI. And then once you, of course, pass, and I will also go in that on the next slide, make sure that your CV and your LinkedIn is consistent. I see a lot of CVs, and then I go on the LinkedIn, and I'm like, okay, this doesn't add up. This is also, again, me. Yeah? I'm a data person. I'm very detailed. I analyze. I'm like very, persistent on that. But I really check everything if it's correct or not. And if I see something that doesn't add on, is it like a role that's all of a sudden on a CV but not on LinkedIn, or the other way around? Yeah, I'm skeptical. This is really important that you keep your story and your profiles consistent. And now to maybe take you along into one day of my life as a recruiter. So I get you a little bit the insight on how I work and how I look on CVs or candidates. What I want to point out is that I personally don't care so much for a CV. I care for the person and the story that's behind the CV. I understand that if you go not with like a recruiting agency like Ellevate is, but you're applying at a company, that you don't, a lot of times obviously get the chance to tell your story first. Obviously there, your CV matters first, hence my input on that one. But how I work is that I get a CV, or I talk to a potential candidate, and the first thing I do is I go on LinkedIn. Because LinkedIn with LinkedIn actually, and your profile, you have the ability to tell your story. Make sure, just an example, right? But make sure that the headline really has the keywords that within actually a couple of seconds, I can get an impression of who you are, what you can do, what you bring along, and that then can be obviously further detailed in the whole profile and sections of LinkedIn. But this is my first go-to place, because I'm interested in the person, and I'm interested also in, a lot of times for a job, having the certain skills is one thing, but there's skills is just really like a small part of everything that matters if this position, this job is the right job for you, if the company is the right one for you, and so on. So skills is just one thing. It's the whole of you as a person. And a lot of times it's also, for me, thinking out of the box, seeing certain skill sets, certain experiences, certain impressions where I feel like, okay, this is not 100% match, but it's a little bit out of the box, but it will work because of A, B, and C. And that that you yourself can talk about on LinkedIn. What I also check is this person active on LinkedIn? Or is this person commenting on, maybe sharing? Because, and maybe that's also obviously depending, are you junior, are you senior? But just the example of a senior profile, and I want to see also on LinkedIn, is this person a thought leader? What is this person sharing? Where is this person commenting on? Which story is this person telling? And this is so important. And for like a junior, just start small, right? Even just liking, commenting can create a picture or a story for me about you. And that's also, about visibility. To be honest, I'm not like Eva said it. Eva, you love to be on stage. I'm at the beginning of this journey. This was one of my goals for this year. Hey, I need to be more out there, right? But visibility is a big problem for me. And just starting small, also on LinkedIn, it's okay. Just trying out, because a lot of times I think people think about me, but actually nobody cares about you, right? It's just in my head. So just try it really carefully. And what I also want to share is, again, leadership is not a title. It's not about the title. It's about the person. It's about the story. It's about what you demonstrate. So this is also something that I want to share with you. If I have a conversation with a potential candidate, what I look for is this person. And that's, I think, my number one that I want to share with you. I believe authenticity is the most important one. If I talk to someone and I feel this person is authentic, this person is curious, indeed, ask a lot of questions. Also for me, Eva, you pointed it out, also for me, so important. Active listening. Is this person curious? Does this person take ownership? This is really what I'm looking for. And also just the energy, right? If I have a conversation with someone for 10, 20 minutes, have the right energy, be present, show that you're there in this moment. And I think this, is also really important, what I then look for. I want to end this with something that I realized, actually, what I realized now living in the Netherlands. And I maybe didn't practice it, or I didn't see it so much in Germany. But here in the Netherlands, I do see how opportunities happen. And opportunities, a lot of times, happen outside the job boards, happen outside the active job postings. It is about creating relationships. And that's why I love, Eva, that, you also pointed that out, because it is so important, and that you can really start as a junior already, but create, start building relationships, building your network. This initiative that you have here, it's so valuable, because you meet a lot of people that can, maybe now or later, you can rely on or turn to if you're looking for your next career step, right? Just like maybe one example I can also give you, what you can do on LinkedIn is proactively, if you decided, okay, this is the next career step I want to do, and you did your analysis, you did your research on, okay, these are the potential companies that you're interested in, these are the potential jobs that you're interested in. Start following these companies, start looking at, okay, what are they posting, start commenting, start connecting to people, see, hey, is there an ex-colleague who now works for this company, can I get an introduction? Really proactively start then using also your relationships, because a lot of times jobs are not open yet, or will open, and you're then right there and you're in the mind of people. What I also find also for myself very important is that you create allies and mentors. Role models is another word I also want to say, actually. This is kind of like trusted people in your surroundings, and this goes for work, but for me personally, my husband, my partner, is one of my biggest mentors and allies. So I think it goes further than just, in a corporate world, in order to help you grow, right? Then I put prioritization matters on it. And the main reason for this being, I used to be the woman who could never say no. So that ended up in a lot of tasks during my work where I felt like I'm already overloaded. But yeah, I cannot say no, right? So I also worked on topics, and Eva, you also mentioned it, you then start working on topics where you maybe don't become visible on, you don't get the credibility on it. It does not support your career growth. So really look, analyze what are you working on, what are your prioritization, what brings you further, what brings you energy, what does not bring you energy, and based on that, also protect, of course, your boundaries, and based on that, you will thrive in your career. And for me, it's also something where people still told me, oh, once you become a mom, you want to work 3 days or whatever. I heard this. I heard, and I was like, absolutely not. And what I learned, I mean, I didn't know it before I became a mom, obviously. I just had this idea, of course, that will not happen. But what happened after I became a mom is that I'm not less ambitious. No, I now have two kids, and I have my own company, and I do a lot of things. But it's all because I'm prioritizing, and I'm protecting my boundaries, and I'm putting myself first. And last, I end also again with, please tell your story. We're interested in the people behind the CV. Make sure wherever you can, if it's online or offline, tell your story and share your story, become visible. And build your network early and really make use of your network.
Thank you so much, Aline, for I think that you covered so many also interesting topics here. I saw that while you're talking, someone was asking a bit about let me find it again. Yeah, the aligning the CV and the LinkedIn, especially when you have more experience, because your LinkedIn starts to grow. And of course, your CV needs to be shorter.
Yeah, that's perfect. No, that's perfect, because what I do, I look at everything on LinkedIn. So if you have 20 years of experience, and let's say every year you change jobs, so you have like 20 years of experience on LinkedIn, that is great. And then on the CV, put it shortly.
Mm-hmm. And I saw that, I think that we lost Eva. Let's see if she will.
She's back. She wants to be a presenter again. Yes.
Perfect. Let's
Yes.
put back. We're all back.
Welcome back.
Right in time for the fire chat, and we have not too much, but let's be brief. We start by one question, because everyone talked about communication and the importance of telling your story. And I will be honest, my background is in journalism. I worked several years in newsrooms. I'm amazing to tell the stories of other people. If I need to do a pitch about myself, I fail terribly. It's like, tell your skills and then rate your phrase and then get crazy. So tips, how do you do it? How can people get better at telling their skills and not being afraid of telling their skills? And I don't know, Eva and Aline, if you agree with it, but I would say even really writing your personal elevator pitch and training it for when you need to do it, you know how to do it. How do you go about it?
Okay, I can start. And so I think talking about yourself as like the first move can sometimes feel a bit daunting. So I would start with something easier. And I think in terms of communication, the biggest difference for me, I felt it, is when I started thinking not just what do I want to say, but what does the other person need to know? And I had a job where I reported to the CEO. I needed to get approval, but he had so many things on. I needed to be super efficient or it would be a no. So I thought, what are all the things he needs to know so that he can just say yes or no without back and forth. So I got into the habit of just thinking, what does the other person need to know from me, so that they can make a decision, they can ask me the relevant questions, and really putting yourself in someone else's shoes. And a lot of it comes down to preparation. So an easy way to try it today or tomorrow would be, if you have a meeting coming up, no matter what role you play in the meeting, sitting down ahead of time and just thinking of 2-3 questions you could ask in the meeting. You don't have to ask them, but preparing a short list of questions you could ask, because that helps you then have a starting point to think of other stuff. I doubt most people have come up with brilliant questions out of nowhere. They have probably practiced it, and you've got to start somewhere. In terms of like the elevator pitch thought and how to talk about yourself, I think it's getting clear on paper. And I will not lie. I mean, I kind of do this for a living, but sometimes I'm still like, oh my God, I haven't thought about what I'm going to say about myself. But I've said so many times now, I'm Eva Murray, I'm a data and tech career coach, that something will come out that makes sense. And I think I have the confidence now to use humor when I mess up. But until you get to that point, you might want to have just a few different options. And I would say it out loud and then write it down, because otherwise it's going to sound super stuffy and formal first. And you're like, oh, I can't say this. I can't remember the words. If you can't remember the words, they're not the right words yet. So you've got to find something that really feels like something you would say, and practice with friends, family, anyone who will listen.
That's very, very good tip. I think that I love the practice, because that's the thing, right? It doesn't come from nowhere. You need to understand and practice. And Aline, would you want to add something to this point?
Yeah, just one thing to add, because I felt the most uncomfortable if you go to like a conference or you're networking and you need to introduce yourself, right? And what I also learned for myself is of course, having the pitch in your head and prepare it and practice it. I totally agree with. And then one more thing that helps me, I like to ask questions quite fast, because then you get into like a communication, a back and forth. And I think we work in data, we're really good in getting to the core and asking questions, that you can also make use to turn it around. And then it becomes natural and easy, and then it might help.
Thanks, Ellen. And there is a question here that is quite connected. I'm seeing it on the Q&A from Liu, that she's asking, appearing as a top leader on LinkedIn. And she's saying that sometimes it also happens outside, right? Because it's not only LinkedIn, it goes blog, newsletter. It depends a bit of where people engage. She's asking, what is a good way to demonstrate that you do have those strategic skills to recruiters or to companies, because they tend to go to LinkedIn. So you reuse everything on LinkedIn, make sure that your LinkedIn reflects everything that you're doing outside. How do you connect those words? What happens on LinkedIn to what doesn't happen on LinkedIn?
Yeah, but what you can do indeed is if you, for example, have work or projects that you shared on GitHub or any other platform, add those links, right? Because that is like an easy way to also immediately get an impression of your work. And probably you also have this with Tableau, right? Where you have projects that you can talk about and share. So people get an impression of how do you work, and that you can do in LinkedIn and also actually on your CV.
Mm-hmm. No, perfect. Was just having a laugh here with a Timmy comment saying that she feels like Barbie monologue. If she sells herself, if she doesn't sell herself, then she's too humble. But if she does, if she communicates her skills and everything, then it's too cocky. What if actually, I was reading a research saying that women, even if they ask for a promotion, because one problem is that we don't ask for a promotion, right? But then there was a research showing that even if we do ask for a promotion, we tend to be rejected more than men. What makes the situation difficult, right? Because we can end up in the Barb monologue situation here.
I think, and this is maybe, because I would love to answer or add a comment to that. This is maybe easy for me to say as somebody further along in their career and with what I think are options. I always figured, if I feel I have done everything I possibly can to get a promotion based on the criteria and conversations and putting myself out there and all of that stuff, and it still doesn't happen, or I feel it's unfair, objectively, not just my feeling, but there's maybe evidence that it's unfair, I think at some point I will take that as a signal of what to expect in the future, and I will act accordingly. I've always felt that it's really important to be in line with your values, because at some point you're like, oh, this just doesn't feel quite right. Like, in the beginning of our career, we're a little bit more, I don't want to call it desperate, but we've got to earn a living and all of that. But at some point you're like, well, I'm not going to take this crap anymore, right? So I think that's one element of it, is if we ask for the promotion, if we do the work required, and if it still doesn't happen within a reasonable amount of time, and there's no rhyme or reason to it, I would just be like, okay, consequences, I'm going somewhere else. But the other question from Timia around, if you talk about yourself, it comes across as cocky, and if you don't, then you're not going to be visible. One line I heard many, many years ago that has stuck in here is, what other people think of you is none of your business. And it sounds harsh at first, but I'm like, oh my God, yeah. I try just to not care so much about what other people, like if somebody thinks, oh my God, Eva, you're so arrogant, that's on them. If I feel I've got, and this is what Aline said, right, about a portfolio or evidence, right? If you've got proof of something you've worked on, if you've got examples, if you've got stories, case studies, happy customers, happy colleagues, feedback, little comments in emails or Slack, well, there's proof right there that you've done a good job. Why shouldn't you talk about it? And the person who doesn't like you talking about it, it's their problem to deal with. They can talk to the therapist about it.
True. Now I have a new word, new sentence that I use. It's a kind of your problem, not mine. I love that.
Yeah, it's a you problem, not a me problem.
No, I love it. I took a note here. I have to remember that what other people think of me, it's their business, not mine. Eva and Aline, we're super in the end. Well, it's a shame because I had so many questions. I think that I'll do a final one and then like a short answer. But what do you think that people must pay attention if you need to pick one thing so people know that they are progressing their careers? What is the one thing that you think that people should pay attention on?
Naya, my one thing is, are you happy, right? I mean, if you're happy at your job, you're happy in your life. Well, if you're happy in your life, you're happy at your job, and the other way around, right? For me, it really comes down to that.
I think for me, it's having options at any point within reason, being able to say, okay, this is toxic, or this is dangerous, or this just no longer serves me, and being able to go. And that includes what I would have loved to talk about, and I think we'll do a separate meeting on it, money. Enough money to buy yourself the time to find something else. Being stuck in the wrong job, in the wrong company, in the wrong relationship. I think especially as women, if we want to have a family, there's going to be, let's be real, some sacrifices at some point. So I think to me, money, because of the options and the freedom it buys you, is a key one, actually.
Perfect. Yeah, I think that thanks so much, both of you. Let's wrap up with our money and happiness focus in our career progression. And I will just give the room to Timmy so Timmy can go to our Wheel of Fortune and tell us who is the winner of the prize. And do you have the prize, Timmy? Or
Yes, I will share my screen and I show the prices first. Data fam. Oh wait. Okay. It's like I feel like an influencer now. So Data fam pen. I have an amazing Tableau warm scarf for the winter time. It's perfect. I have a beautiful Data fam notebook. And I have also a shopping bag for 2
and
kids.
a winner. Do you have a winner?
And she is not included, so she's definitely gonna stay with me, even though she's always next to my legs. The other guys didn't. So this is Andre. I don't know if I should add you or everybody's fine like this because it's. I added you, Remco, but this is what we have. Okay, spin. Barbara. One.
Perfect. So Barbara, we will contact you. You're still here. Good. If you want, you can even already send to Timmy your address. Otherwise, we can do it offline. I would like to say thanks to everyone.
Wait, there's another one. There's two.
There is a second. Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
I thought that it was one pack. So sorry, Timmy. Second winner.
It's the Day of the Bees, Blasovia.
Perfect. And now we have our winners, right? That we will send an email to get address and everything, because you need to ship unless you're neighbors of Timmy, then you can get it in person in Amsterdam. But for everyone, thank you so much for attending. Eva and Aline, it's a shame that it's the end, because I couldn't go through my 100 questions that I had, but I hope that we have opportunities to talk with you two again. So thanks everyone, and have a nice afternoon.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.